So what if them niggas make more? I knew my time would come and had to wait for it. So every night a nigga pray for it. Ain't no going back, the only way is forward. See some people they weren't made for. They roll it fit my real like it was made for. And they hating, but what's the hate for?
From High Class Dispatching LLC, and I am back with another video. High class or no class, y'all already know the vibes, period. Okay, we're gonna get right into it. No fluff, no let's go ahead and get right into it, y'all. So today what we're gonna talk about is what sets you apart. I always tell my students, you know, being a freight dispatcher, there's a lot of them out here. A whole lot. When I say a whole lot, I mean a whole lot. A whole lot of dispatchers out here. So you want to set yourself apart from everybody else. So these are some tips and tricks that will help you become a great dispatcher or kind of set yourself aside or apart from the rest. I always tell my students, you know, become an asset. Anybody can dispatch a truck, right? Anybody can look on a load board and find a load. Anybody can do that, right? But what's gonna set you apart from all the other dispatchers out here? So here's a couple that I want to kind of give to you guys, and you can also become a great dispatcher using these tips and tricks. Let's get into the video. All right, y'all. So the first thing that I have, y'all know I got my notes. If I'm looking down, mind your business, okay? First thing that I got is communication. Communication is at the top of my list because it is key to becoming a great dispatcher. Absolutely, hands down, nothing tops communication, nothing. Making sure that you're doing those check-ins with your drivers, making sure you're checking in with the brokers, letting them know what's going on, when your driver's picking up the load, how far away they are, when the plans are to drop off or a roundabout time, when they actually do drop off, right? You need to keep communication with the broker as well as your carrier. Checking in on them, making sure that they're doing all right, making sure that they're on time, okay? And even so, when your carrier doesn't have a load, you still need to be checking in with them periodically, right? Letting them know, hey, I'm still working, still trying to find you something. Don't just go. I talked to a carrier today, actually. He was inquiring about dispatching services, and I asked him, what is it that you are looking for in a dispatcher? And the first thing he said to me was communication. He said, I don't like when, you know, people leave me hanging, or the particular, you know, dispatcher that he has right now, I don't like when he leaves me hanging for 7 to 8 hours while he's looking for a load. He doesn't keep me in the loop. He doesn't keep me updated. So I said that to say, it's key. Communication is definitely key, okay? Making sure that you are letting them know, even if you're just looking for loads for them. What I typically like to do is reach out to them first thing in the morning, whether I'm sending a text or calling and saying, hey, good morning. You know, something like, today will be a great day. I'm going to start, you know, looking for loads for you. I just wanted to reach out and say, hey, and I'm going to get my day started, right? That's what I like to do in the morning, to let them know, like, I haven't forgot about you. I'm working effectively to find us some top paying loads or some good paying loads. Just want to reach out and say, hey, for, you know, at the top of the morning. And then I'm going to check in with them probably every about 2 hours or so to kind of let them know, you know, I'm still working if I haven't found anything. Now, typically when I'm dispatching, I'm usually done, depending on how many trucks we're dispatching at the time, because I have a team now, but, you know, depending on how many trucks that we're dispatching, I typically will be done around about 12-ish, maybe. It depends on how the day is going. But no later than 12, I'm usually done dispatching, okay? So I say that to say, communication is key. Effectively communicate with your carrier, and they will love you forever, okay? Next one that I got on my list is staying organized. Staying organized is a vital part of being a great dispatcher. Making sure that you got, you know, your carrier's files put together, all their paperwork, keeping track of the loads that you are booking for them, all that good stuff, putting that into their files as well. Making sure that you're staying organized on your end is going to be essential for your business. It is going to be essential. That is a key part of being a great dispatcher. Now, I can be completely honest and say I have never been the one to be so organized as I am right now. Never, ever, okay? I have always been the one to kind of be all over the place at times, but becoming a independent freight dispatcher has definitely helped with my organization, because you have to. If you don't, you'll be everywhere. You'll be everywhere, okay? So staying organized is definitely going to help and set you aside from everyone else when it comes to being a great dispatcher. Next up, I have sending weekly summaries or spreadsheets of the loads that you book for your carriers. So what I like to do, and like I said, this kind of sets me apart from everyone else, because all dispatchers ain't doing this. I'm giving you some tea. I hope you're writing it down, okay? Spilling a little tea. So what you want to do is you want to keep track of all the loads that you are booking for your carrier. And that should include the day that you book that load, the broker of the shipper who you booked that load with, and what that particular load paid, okay? Keep track of that, write it down, and then what you want to do is send that information to your carrier at the end of the week, okay? Write all that down for the rest of the week. If your carrier you book 5 loads for your carrier that week, or whatever the case may be, make sure you're keeping track of all of that, and on Friday, you send them that summary. I do that for 2 reasons. To be completely honest, I do that for myself and I do it for my carrier, okay? I do it because it helps my carrier keep track of their business and what their earnings are coming in, but it also helps me on the back end as well, so that I know what I should be paid or what that invoice should look like for that particular week, okay? So, and it's a plus for both of us. It's a bonus for the 2 of you. So I know what I'm getting paid, and they know around about what they're making from week to week. So if they ever have to go back and say, what did I make on the week of, February the 12th or whatever the case may be? What was the income then versus what we're making in the month of March? They always have those emails available that they can download or do whatever they want to do with them, right? But I always send those emails to them so that they can keep track. And it also helps them, with scaling the business, keeping record keeping, things of that nature. Okay, so that is very important. Make sure that you're keeping track of the information and then send it to your carriers at the end of the week. They will love you for that too. Okay. Next up, I have staying in the know. So you always want to stay in the know, stay in the loop as to what is going on in the freight world, period, okay? Some of the websites that I like to use in order to stay in the know is going to be CDL Life, and then it's also going to be Freight Waves. I wanted to make sure I didn't say it wrong, so I had to look at my notes. Keep notes. I love notes, y'all. Love them. But anyway, hair I got on my face. Anyway. Freight Waves and CDL Life is going to be very, very helpful when it comes to staying in the know. It tells you things like weather conditions. If one particular state may be having a hurricane or something like that, it's going to tell you. If there's certain things going on in one state, or whatever the case may be, it's going to keep you in the know as to what's going on around the world and when it comes to freight. And that's very, very helpful when it comes to dispatching your carriers, because that could essentially, determine where you're going to send your carrier versus where you won't send your carrier as well, right? If we know that there's fires and things going on in California, I'm probably not going to send my carrier to California, right? Wildfires and all this type of crazy mess, probably not going to send my carrier there, right? So this kind of just helps you stay in the know and let you know what's going on as far as the freight world is concerned. And that's always a plus. You always want to, kind of keep your head in and know what's going on when it comes to those type of things. It gives you an advantage, to be completely honest with you. It does. It gives you an advantage. And also just continue to study up on different things, right? I always tell my students to be a student. Never stop being a student. Never stop learning. Never stop taking in information. It just helps you in the long run. It puts you ahead of other people. So that's my opinion. Do that as well, okay? That will also help when it comes to being a great dispatcher or setting yourself apart from everyone else. Next up, we have staying ahead of the game is next, okay? Staying ahead of the game. What do I mean by that? So I'm simply saying, don't be the person that waits until your driver drops that load until you start looking for them to load the load, okay? In my personal opinion, how I personally like to dispatch, once I book a load for my client and we're good to go, I'm instantly looking for my client a back call. If they're looking to come back, I'm looking for them a back call, or if they're looking to go, to another state, whatever the case may be, I'm instantly looking for them another load. So that way, when they drop that load, they already got another one to go get. Okay? So that's what I mean by staying ahead of the game. Don't have your trucks, one of the things they hate to do, which sometimes it is, unavoidable. Sometimes we can't avoid it. But one of the things that they hate to do is to actually have to be sitting there and waiting on you to find a load after they just dropped. They would love for their trucks to keep moving. They love dispatchers. They can continue to get their trucks moving. Like I said, sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes it is out of our control. We can only do what the market does, okay? Whatever the market is doing is what I can do, okay? But, if you can, structure yourself to where you are lining those loads up at least a day or two, right, in advance. And I would say don't go too far out. Don't go too crazy with it because things happen, right? I just had a student of mine. She reached out to me because she was having issues with this particular load they were supposed to pick up and drop off. And she had another load lined up after that at 8 that morning, right? So she actually had to end up canceling that load that they had for the next morning because the whole situation was crazy, right? So that's why I always say don't book yourself up too far ahead, or don't book your carrier up too far ahead either, right? Because that can cause some chaos. It can cause some cancelizations. And if you cancel so many times, some of these brokers, they won't work with you anymore, right? Some of these brokers, they may, put a bad taste in other brokers' mouth when it comes to that particular carrier's business, your dispatching business, so on and so forth. That does happen. So I try not to book them up too far ahead of time, but I do want to at least kind of line them up so that my carrier can keep his wheels turning. They trying to make money and you trying to make money too, okay? So that's what I would suggest. When you book that load, immediately start looking for a back haul, okay? My next advice would be building those relationships with those carriers and those shippers. Y'all know I done talked about this plenty of times, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it is so essential when it comes to a dispatcher's business. This is what's going to set you apart from everyone else. You want to build those relationships with the brokers and the shippers so that you are not solely dependent on load boards. You don't want to have to depend on load boards all the time. And one of the reasons being is because I don't know if you use DAT or not, but DAT don't always work, or DAT, whatever y'all want to call it. Just depends on who you're talking to, okay? But sometimes that stop working. If you a dispatcher, sometimes it go down and it's not working correctly, right? And then you go to another load board, it may not be your favorite. You may not know how to, properly read it or understand it like you are the one that you're used to. Or maybe that particular load board ain't showing no good freight either, right? So when you have, these relationships that you build with the brokers and the shipper, it allows you to basically have them in your back pocket so that you can reach out to them whenever you are in need of freight. If that load board go down, you got people to call on. You got a whole list of brokers that you can reach out to and say, hey, my carrier needs some freight. They're currently in Chicago. What you got for me, right? You have something to fall back on. You need that. That is so essential because the load boards are not just 100% guaranteed. They are not. If you ain't listened to nothing else I said during this video, build relationships with those brokers. And if you got some shippers too, build relationships with them so that you have those people in your back pocket if need be, right? It's always better to have than to not have, all right? So make sure you guys are doing that. Next tip that I would say that will, kind of help you stand out from everyone else would be checking your weather conditions and the routes for your carriers. Now, I personally feel like that this should be a given when it comes to, dispatching. Some dispatchers don't do this, believe it or not. They don't. But checking, the weather and the routes that your driver is going to be on when they're picking up this particular load is essential, right? You may find something, a lot of construction going on in one particular, area or whatever the case may be, and you may find a different route that may get him or her there faster, right? So all type of things, that may come up along the way or that you may see by looking at the routes, checking the weather conditions, seeing if it's raining. You kind of give your driver a heads up on things like that. If there's going to be a thunderstorm coming in that particular area, whatever the case may be. This is another thing that will set you apart from everyone else because the truth of the matter is everybody ain't doing that. Everybody is not doing that. You got a lot of like half dispatchers out here, okay, that's just booking these loads, getting these carriers out here, and they don't even know what they're doing. So, you know, really try to, you know, set yourself apart from other people. And that is a way that you can definitely do that. Like I said, I believe that should be a given. But these new school dispatchers, they ain't doing that. They ain't doing that. So get on it. And the last thing that I would say is to, you know, ask your carrier how they are enjoying your services. Okay? Ask your carrier. Just, you know, kind of reach out to them maybe on a monthly basis or something like that, or every other week, and kind of get a review. If, you know, get a review, I would say. Ask them how they're enjoying your services. And if they do, you know, say it's okay, or whatever the case may be, or even if they say that you have great services, right? Still ask them, is there anything that I can do to improve, you know, my services? Is there anything that I can do to, you know, make what we're doing even better than what it already is, okay? Ask them for some feedback when it comes to your dispatching services. And the only thing that that's going to do is just help you grow as a dispatcher, help you grow as a business owner, and whatnot. That's all that's gonna do. Take the feedback. You know, some people may call it constructive criticism, you know, if it comes down to that, whatever the case may be, but it's essentially just gonna help you grow as a business owner, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? So I highly suggest asking your carriers, you know, how are you enjoying my services? Is there anything that I can do to improve, etc., okay? That is all I have that will kind of set you apart from everybody else, and definitely will help when it comes to being a great dispatcher, okay? That's all I got, y'all. Y'all know we get straight to it. Ain't no fluff, okay? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay in the loop whenever I have new videos coming out. And I will see y'all next time. High class or no class, you already know the vibes.
Ain't no stopping for we need brakes for. I'm at they neck, ain't no letting up. Fuck a vest, we see neck to know. Life is chess, so I settle more.